Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. It's an extra special day. I am so happy to introduce today's Silhouette of Success VIP featured guest. She is a Texas native, a dynamic, achievement-driven executive dedicated to helping women advance in their career. We are pretty fortunate to connect with her as she is just transitioning from her role as CEO of the Ladder Alliance in Fort Worth into her new role as President and CEO of the Women's Business Council Southwest. She earned her master from Texas Women's University and her bachelor's from the University of North Texas. She is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas and a national certified counselor. She's a member of the Fort Worth Rotary Club, Women's Steering Business, and the Women's Policy Forum. And when the workday is done, she enjoys her time with her wife, Ashley, and their son, Stetson, along with horses on their ranch. So I am so tickled and honored to bring on my friend. So please help me welcome Bliss Coulter. Bliss, hello there.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute honor to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Again, I mentioned in the quick intro that you are transitioning. So thank you for taking time today. We are so excited to hear from you.
Absolutely. Time worth spending for sure. Thank you again.
Excellent. Well, Bliss, as we open this up and let you help share just a portion, of course, because we can never capture everything in a 30-minute segment, but help illustrate the early shapings of your silhouette of success by sharing a little bit about your background.
You know, it's funny how sometimes things come to be. So early on, you had mentioned that I have my background in counseling. So I did go down that path. I've always had an inner desire to want to help people, to help make a change in their life. And so that's kind of what got me into it. And I went into it for a while and I loved it. And although I don't actively do counseling today, I feel like I use it in my everyday life. You know, what has kind of taken me from counseling to where I'm at now, it's still the same thing. It just looks very different, and so I'm still helping people and trying to make change, but just in a different way. And so I'm excited about having, the experiences that I have, the background that I have to go from, like you had mentioned, the Ladder Alliance to the Women's Business Council. That organization specifically is helping women-owned businesses to kind of elevate, to network, to become certified. And so, just being able to be a part of that, it speaks to my heart and it speaks to the core of who I am, of wanting to help people and make a difference in their life. And it's just happened so naturally, and I absolutely love it. So I've been very blessed, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's so cool. And I'll tell you, so the audience can begin to see you as well as they hear from you. When we first met, you have the presence that just brings anybody in and just puts a complete calm over them. You have, where you hear of, oh, we feel like we've been friends our whole lives. You just exude that. And so that's so such a blessing for all of those that encounter you too.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. It's funny. I remember my mom saying to me growing up, you've never met a stranger. And it really feels like that. I've also heard, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. I think when you pair those two things together, it's a good business strategy, but also it makes it so natural and so easy to know when you're meeting someone, whether it's in your personal life or professional life, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for a friendship. It's an opportunity for a business. I mean, there's so many different things, but I think you start first at the core of what everyone wants, which is relationships and just relational building. And so I remember when I met you, and I felt like that. And I know sometimes you feel like that with people, and it's like, I feel like I have known Amber my whole life.
Okay, so we've got to tell a quick little tangent side story on how our very first conversation. If you're game, can I share it real
Oh,
quick?
yes, absolutely.
Because it's such a fun tie-in, and as you're transitioning, it's maybe poetic. So I placed a phone call, did a quick Google search, had some things I needed to donate, wanted to donate, and looking for an organization that supported women on the Tarrant County side, et cetera, et cetera. I called up, got somebody on the phone at the Ladder Alliance, told them who I was, and I was with to a real estate firm. And she was so gleeful. I still don't know who it was ever. And she said, "Oh, yay, that's our new CEO's last name too." And I said, "Well, it's meant to be. I'm on my way." And you were so new that they didn't really, they weren't pronouncing it correct, but it was so perfect, right?
It was very funny the way that came about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story. I share it all the time. So, again, just another tie into all of those relationship type moments that you just spoke of. So, you mentioned your mom a moment ago and giving advice. Who or what do you think has influenced you the most throughout your journey?
Oh gosh. I mean, obviously, my mom rises way to the top. Probably number one, and then just followed by my faith and my spirituality. Just kind of following both of those. But I always reflect back to the sage advice that she's given me and still gives me, and I would think and then I've had some great people along the way as well. Prior bosses, teachers, just people that I meet that become almost like a mentor, a coach of sort. I feel like if you kind of channel it correctly, you take a little bit from every person that you meet. Like I said, I've been very blessed by the people I've been surrounded by who have entered my life through happenstance. A great mentor and friend that has really helped is my dear friend Crystal Cardwell. She is, given me a lot of sound advice. Sometimes she's just a sounding board, and so I'm so thankful for those friendships, and that I get to carry them on and hear their voices in the back of my head when I'm trying to make the right decision or whatever that may be at the time.
You can picture their faces too, probably.
Yeah, I
Like
did.
either I can see her too, cheering you on, you've got this, or kind of maybe cocking the eyebrow, like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure you want to do?"
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
those
Yeah.
genuine friends and friendships are important because they're going to tell you how it is, right?
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely. The
awesome.
good true ones definitely do, and I try to always keep those close by because they give you the advice that the way it should be, truthful and honest. Sometimes it'll hurt your feelings, but in the end you learn from it. And so
Yes. Treasures for sure.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then looking over your bio and all these amazing things that you have accomplished and led throughout your career, and even most recently, of course, the Ladder Alliance, the significant impact of your leadership there. You have some pretty terrific accomplishments and accolades. So, is there a specific or special career achievement that you're most proud of? And if so, tell us a little bit about what that means to you.
Specifically referring to the Ladder Alliance, we have done a lot of great things in a short amount of time, and it's hard to really narrow it down. But I guess things when thinking about what I'm most proud of here is that we had received the Best Place for Working Parents from then Mayor Betsy Price. And to me, that just meant so much because what that does is tell the world, if you will, that the Ladder Alliance is a place where moms can go They can bring their kiddos into work. We work around schedules. Life, it happens. Things pop up. And, there's a lot that goes into receiving that nomination. And I was just so proud of it because looking at things from a whole perspective, you have to take care of your employees first. You just absolutely have to, because they are the agency. Without them, there's nothing. And so to me, that was probably one of the greatest honors. And, although there's no award or plaque or anything, it's just the recognition from the city to say, hey, this is a company that I want to go to, that I'm a working mom, or I'm a single mom, or, or a dad of 4 kids, that this company is going to understand, and that they're going to work with me and make it easy to where I can do both. I can be a parent and I can be a great employee, and you don't have to give one to get the other. And so that one, I think, rises to the top for me. And then also another really big thing we did here at the Ladder Alliance is in the history of the agency, they had never had classes in Spanish. It was only ever in English. And so bringing on the bilingual component of our programming, I'm just so proud of that, because we're now able to serve a whole new demographic of folks that we weren't able to serve before. And really just when I thought about doing that, all it is looking through the lens, an equitable lens, and so making sure that you are, doing your best that you can as a CEO to bring in that diversity and inclusion and try to reduce or eliminate as many barriers as you can. And so, although we had a lot of other, financial successes and programmatic and things like that, I would say those are the top 2 for me that rise to the top, because they directly affect people. I mean, and all of it does, but those are, I guess you could say, the ones that are very near and dear to my heart.
The impact, just the impact of the daily, you talk about there's not a significant trophy or monetary award that comes with that, but just the folks that your employees and all of the people that they speak with and that they see that are supported because of what you helped create. You know what? I think they're walking talking trophies, right? I mean, it's just so symbolic of everything, of the leadership. And I always talk about the Ladder Alliance. I said, they may be smaller, but they are so mighty. They are so mighty. The heart of everyone that you encounter at that organization and that supports it is just, doing 10 times. So it's just amazing. You all did do so much good there.
Thank you so much. I like to refer to it as the little engine that could.
Yeah, there you go.
We keep chugging along, and we're making a difference, and that's what matters.
Fantastic. So in all of that and everything that you do when you are when you have your business hat on, we'll talk about the rodeo maybe later, a rodeo hat, what you do in your fun time.
Yeah.
But where do you turn to for support, or I don't like asking where people turn to for motivation, because I think that's probably more internalized, but maybe inspiration. Where do you turn to?
There's a lot of different things. And so, we talked about, the people and the mentors, the people you turn to. I am fortunate to be on. There's another group here in Fort Worth of female CEOs that get together. And really that's a great group of women, because, we're all in the same position, sometimes struggling with the same things, celebrating the same things. And so that's a very good support system, as far as people and folks go. But kind of beyond that, the places that I go to is seeing kind of what's going on and what's happening around me, and how can I be a part of it? How can I insert my business into it to, leverage whatever needs to happen for that business? And so, for example, like the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce, the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber, new businesses coming in, how is this person doing it? Events. And so when you're a part of all of that and you surround yourself with people that are of like mind, you get more innovative and you get more creative. And then you think, oh, how can I partner this? Or how can I get with this company? And we both help each other, the big networking aspect of it. And I feel like, from the business hat in me is, I'm always thinking kind of what's next, sometimes to a fault of like, okay, I need to pull back the reins, slow down, enjoy the successes. But, in doing that, it fills my creative energy. What are other people doing? And, just talking in these coffees and networking opportunities. It really, for me, is kind of my go-to of where to go. I don't know if that even makes sense, but like the motivation and encouragement that I get because, if I'm down in the dumps because of whatever reason, and then you go out to one of these things and you hear, have you tried it this way? I don't know. It just, there's so many people have so much to offer. And I just feel like sometimes I'm a sponge and I just sit there and listen to people and try to absorb what information they have. And that helps, clear my mind, but also re-inspire me, if you will.
I love it. I love it. And you are wired for what we call abundance, and that's why you're always go 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 go. And you do have to stop yourself, or or a good friend, or a spouse has to stop you and just say, okay, like you just said, you've got to enjoy the little successes in life.
Yeah.
Right. So, oh, that's amazing. And yes, we're inspired when we are able to feel comfortable with the group and collaborate versus compete.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
That's
seeing it through that lens as well, that you're collaborating with someone, that you don't see them through a negative light, or you're not
right.
competing. It's how can what you do and what I do, what are we doing different? How come, it's great.
But was there ever a key or specific point in time situation in your professional life that forced you to really take a monumental shift or face a challenge within your business or career? If so, what was it? What was the result? And how did you grow from that?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah.
um, I think it would be remiss of me to not say what I'm sure you've heard before on many occasions is COVID
Hmm.
and the effects that had on businesses. So many businesses, for profit, nonprofit, the community at large. It was huge. And so that happened about less than a year after me starting the agency. So that was a big, I guess you could say, hurdle to try to overcome. And how do you navigate these waters, coming into an agency and looking at the financials, looking at the staffing, the way the business operates, kind of doing that whole SWOT analysis, if you will, of where are we at now and what do we need to do to get through this? How can you keep your business afloat, keep your employees, serve your clients, your students coming in, your constituents. And so COVID was it was a big challenge, but I would say with that challenge, came a lot of opportunities really. And, the word of 2020 pivot, it forced you to either accelerate something that you were working on. So for us, I had come on to the Ladder Alliance and I had wanted to make our programming online and accessible to more people than just that were located here in Fort Worth. And so when COVID came on, it accelerated that, right? And so we had to figure out, how do we now do this now? How do we continue to serve our students where they're in the middle of these classes and they're trying to get this education and this information so they can go out and get a job during these extremely hard times? Well, you don't want to leave them to the wayside. And so trying to navigate waters of change along with just kind of the day-to-day operations, as well as, taking care of yourself, making sure you're safe, your family's safe. And so I feel like that probably was a big situation in business that kind of forced a momental, change, like you said. And the result of it was, obviously, as you know, we're still struggling with COVID and things of that nature. But from the business standpoint, it's been a good thing in the sense of it has taught us to think more out of the box, to know that, yeah, you're going to have to diversify your funding portfolio. You're going to have to be able to make sure these programs are accessible to people that don't want to get out for whatever reason. And also just expand your footprint. You end up, getting more people who know about you because now everything is online. And so I think that probably was the most monumental change that I have been through over the past probably 5 years at least, if not longer.
What an impact, powerful pull that sometimes we don't see coming, but the outcomes of what it causes, the cause and effect of what we've got to do to
Oh, yeah.
accomplish. Yes, pretty significant. And so many happy students because you were able to do that as well. So the outreach, once again, is just magnified because of the circumstance, but your leadership. So that's just fantastic. So, well, Bliss, we're going to take a quick break to hear from this episode's sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Is it time to sell your home? Build that dream home? Right size? Or are you ready to invest in real estate? Coulter Real Estate Firm is a local female-owned independent brokerage laser-focused on services exclusively tailored to our clients' real estate goals. With our forward-thinking business model, we have a fully mobile, luxury real estate concept allowing convenience, flexibility, efficiency for our clients in style. Amber Weitzer, broker-owner of Coulter Real Estate Firm, has over 20 years in the real estate industry and is a second-generation broker. She provides straightforward business practices, integrity, and intelligence with a commitment to a high-touch, consistent customer service experience. We take great pride in our reputation as a strong, referral-based brokerage. Discretion, tenacity, respect, and proactive business practices have earned Coulter Real Estate Firm a loyal, repeat client business with a trusted global partner network. We strive for ultimate client satisfaction with successful results, doing it with class, consciousness, and a little avant-garde. In addition to serving our clients and vendor partners, we are extremely honored to be actively engaged in supporting the communities we serve by promoting small businesses, schools, and nonprofits. Real estate is direct sales business at its core, and we are highly trained sales professionals with the Mike Ferry organization, adding dimension to the industry. Passionate about customer service, dedicated to client satisfaction, and driven to achieve successful results for our clients. Call Coulter Real Estate Firm today at 817-233-7239 to discuss your real estate goals.
All right, we are back. So, all right, Bliss, we were visiting earlier about, just different things in your career and on your journey. Okay, so we look at you and we see, oh my gosh, she's got this going on and she's doing this and she's just excelled. And how does she do it? We've all asked a question. We have all, maybe had to answer a portion of said type of question. But how do you do it? Are you more structured with a daily routine and schedule, or are you more kind of spontaneous with what you've got going on? And do you have hard goals or accountability in place? How do you operate day in the life of? How does she get it all done?
I wish I could get it all done, that's for sure. It seems like every time I make a list of things I want to accomplish, then there's another list quickly followed behind that one. And so
our lists have sub lists, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I would, to answer your question, between the two types of person, I am structured or spontaneous. If I'm being honest with myself, I would have to say that I am structured. I love to think that I am more spontaneous than I am, but I think I have a good blend, but I think if someone were to make me put a percentage next to it, I'm probably more structured. But I think that helps me kind of see A plus B equals C, where to go from here. What are the next things? I have a lot of goals. I have goals for my business. I have goals for myself. Personally, I have goals, for my family. And so in doing that, it's kind of what drives me, but it's also what drives me crazy at the same time.
Yes.
Like you have to have the spontaneity to allow for that creativity that I was talking about, that flexibility to know, hey, I could have, and I do, I use my calendar like it's going out of style. It's completely bombarded and packed all the time. But, if you do that and then an opportunity pops up or something comes about that, you feel like you are need to attend or go to or meet with, then you kind of just have to throw your schedule out of the window. And that's where that spontaneity comes from. And then you end up, being most of the time being so excited. I'm so glad I went to this. Okay, I'll have to make up, today's stuff on another day. And you know what? We have to be okay with sometimes we'll get to it all and sometimes we won't. I feel like we as Americans put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Society as a whole puts a lot of pressure, but I think day by day, we're all learning that you sometimes just have to stop and breathe and, relish in the successes, but also, you are your own biggest advocate, whether that's your advocate for growth and success or, your own health, and in the ways of, whatever that looks like to you, mental health, physical health, all of that. But it's a little blend of both, but I think that's necessary, as leaders, that you kind of need to be able to jump from one thing to the next and seize opportunities when they present themselves.
It's a great attribute which you just started describing would maybe be a blend of versatility as well to be able to do that, and you've got that.
Well, I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, I've seen you. I've seen you goal. Yeah, I've seen you goal driven, and then I've seen you just, what? Let's just whatever. Let's just wing it and see what happens. And
that's exactly
sometimes
right.
we don't have a choice. We have to say that, but it works out. It works out.
Yeah,
it always works out. In talking maybe about your goals or even your fun goals, you've got there at your ranch or with your family. So this is really open for you. But what positive adjustments have you made in your life or environment to help support those goals and dreams and your growth?
That's a great question. And in fact, it's a very relevant one because that is one that I have been, trying to be very intent with here over the past couple months. I have a little bit of workaholic, a little bit of constantly going all the time. And so, it starts to wear on you. And so I have been very intentional with trying to have a better work-life balance and not really just talking about it, but being active in that. You can't burn your candle at both ends. And so I think for me, that's been the biggest thing probably over the past 6 months that I've really been trying to work with is that work-life balance. And I've already felt myself feeling a lot more healthy, really. And it's very interesting because I've always just said, yeah, I got to have work-life balance. And, I'll leave work, right at 5 rather than 7 or something like that. And that's really not what it means. There is so many other components to that. And I think I'm getting to the point where I'm figuring it out now. And it's only helping me more in every facet of my life, whether it's my business life or my personal life. And so it's kind of one of those changes that you do it when you can, you do it. I don't know if that makes sense, but once it hits you, then you know that, yes, now you are getting it right with that whole work-life balance part.
We hear that and people, it's a nice little book title, work-life balance. It's kind of like, yeah, really? It's not something that comes natural. I don't know for anybody. Maybe some people are, naturally skilled at it, but it is a skill and it's something you do have to work at, I think, for me anyways.
Yes, agreed. I have to work very, very hard at it for sure.
Yeah, it's a whole nother job sometimes trying to do that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, in talking about that, when do you feel you are at your best?
That's a very tough question because, like I said, I am my own worst critic. I think when everything is being taken care of kind of in the way that it should be, or to the best of one's ability, when I spend an adequate amount of time at home and spending time with my son, and then in my, my personal life, riding horses and things like that. And then also, going forth in goals and different things that I need to in my business. When all that seems to be working, there's almost like a sense of peace, if you will, that kind of takes over any stresses. And I feel like that's when I'm performing my best. If one is ever giving, you constantly kind of have it in the back of your head. I could be the most successful person at work, but is my home life faltering, or am I not getting enough, of me time and things like that. So I think when I can keep that balance going is when I am functioning the best for all facets of my life.
So well put. we all value great resources to help encourage and uplift. Maybe you mentioned your faith and spirituality earlier. Is there a favorite author or book or resource that you follow or that you really dive into? And if so, what makes it a favorite?
Hmm. Yeah, I think what rises to the top for me, not necessarily an author or coach, but it is my faith driven, my spirituality, because that is what brings me the most peace. I'm like everyone. I love a good book. I love purpose driven life. I love all of the leadership books and things like that. But it's for me, what the most inspirational is the people that surround me in my own, in my real life. But I do get a lot from, different coaches and mentors that I mentioned before, but surrounding myself with those folks and, just always giving it to God for me, because at the end of the day, however he wants it to be is how it's going to be, and so to me, that's what fills my bucket. It really is.
Well, my friend, in respecting the clock and your schedule and commitments, I know you probably have stacked up. It has been wonderful visiting with you today on this level, getting to hear a different side, just one on one, and sharing you with the world. But right now, it's just you and I.
Yeah.
And as we begin to wrap up and keeping the promise to share intentional inspiration with our audience, do you have one piece of key go-to advice that you'd like to share?
I would say be kind to others, always try to do good. Don't forget where you came from. There's so many things. Just, work hard and try to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Don't give up on yourself. They all may sound very cliche, but these are also things that I tell myself all the time. And so I would love for somebody else to kind of have that in their mind, whether they're going through, triumphs or downfalls or whatever it may be, is you are your own biggest critic, but you're also your own biggest cheerleader. And so give yourself the credit and know that you can do it, and you can, and you will.
I believe. That is amazing. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, my lady. So, as we close out here, I'm giving the stage back to you. Where can our audience go to find and connect with you or support you in your continued success? If you have any socials you want to share, contact information.
Yes, that would be great. So yes, I am going to be with the Women's Business Council Southwest. So let me give you that email address. It's Coulter at wbcsouthwest.org. You can also contact me by 469-951-7379. But also, yes, feel free to look me up on Facebook or LinkedIn, just under Bliss Coulter. Pretty easy to find. It'll be a picture probably of me and a horse, or me and my son, or me and my wife.
Oh, of course.
I would love to connect. I would
love that. Okay, wait, before we go, wind in your hair, you've got to share just a quick minute or whatever you want about what you do in your downtime. Come on.
Oh, yes. Okay. I am a horse crazy girl for sure. So in my downtime, I spend a lot of time, obviously, we mentioned, with my family, but I ride horses all the time. I'm very competitive in rodeo, barrel racing, play days. And so when I'm not at work, you can usually find me on the back of one of my quarter horses or Mustangs, or at a rodeo, because I am also competitive in my personal life as well. But yeah, I just love it. I love the speed and the horses and the connection that has. And that absolutely is my decompression time when I'm not at the office. So
there we go. There was no way we were going to get away without talking about that.
Yeah.
We have to talk about that. So, all right. Thank you so much again for spending this time with us and sharing your silhouette of success. It has been a true pleasure.
Thank you so much, Amber. It has been my pleasure as well. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you and hearing from other listeners.
Perfect. All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out and join us for all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. Amber would love to hear from you, and you can find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or head over to amberweitzer.com. Let's connect. Help us all shine and leave us a review too. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at amberweitzer.com. We are honored, humbled, and full of joy that you've tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.